The grand ballroom shimmered under a cascade of crystal chandeliers. Every table was adorned with gold-trimmed plates, and the scent of roses filled the air. The elite of society had gathered to witness the long-awaited wedding of Alexander Drake, the billionaire CEO of Drake Industries. Cameras flashed, reporters whispered, and high-profile guests sipped champagne, eagerly anticipating the moment when Alexander would say, "I do." But just as the officiant cleared his throat, preparing to bind two souls in matrimony, the heavy oak doors at the back of the hall swung open with a sudden resounding bang. A small voice, clear and unwavering, rang out, "Stop the wedding." Gasps rippled through the crowd as all eyes turned toward the entrance. A little girl, no older than 6, stood alone in the doorway, her curls bouncing as she took a step forward. Dressed in a modest, slightly worn blue dress, she clutched a crumpled envelope in her tiny hands. Alexander's fiancée, the stunning and poised Veronica Langley, stiffened. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded, her voice tinged with icy impatience. The little girl ignored her and looked straight at Alexander. "You don't remember me," she said softly, her large green eyes locking onto his. "But you should." Murmurs erupted in the crowd. The tension was palpable. Alexander's mind raced. Who was she? He had no children, no estranged family. Nothing in his meticulously crafted life could explain this intrusion. Then the little girl did something that sent a chill down his spine. She handed the envelope to the officiant. He hesitated, glancing between the girl and Alexander before unfolding the letter. His eyes widened as he read. This changes everything," the officiant murmured, "a past buried in ashes." But before the mystery could be unraveled, whispers spread through the crowd. Veronica, her patience snapping, turned to Alexander. "Handle this nonsense immediately," she hissed, her perfectly manicured nails digging into his wrist. The room blurred as Alexander stared at the child, a feeling of déjà vu creeping up his spine. And then it hit him, her eyes. Those deep, haunting green eyes. He had seen them before, years ago. Alexander wasn't always the powerful CEO the world knew today. A decade ago, he had been nothing but a homeless nobody, sleeping under bridges, scavenging for scraps, and enduring the cruel mockery of strangers. Back then, no one had believed in him. He was just another lost cause, another forgotten soul. Except for one person. A woman. Her. Memories came rushing back, her kind voice. The way she had whispered encouragement when the world had turned its back on him. The woman who had saved his life. But she was gone. She had disappeared in a fire 10 years ago. A fire that had been ruled an accident. A fire that had stolen the only person who had ever cared about him when he had been at his lowest. And now, standing before him, was this little girl with her eyes. Unraveling the mystery. The guests were growing restless. Reporters whispered furiously into their phones. "Who are you?" Alexander asked, his voice quieter now. The girl took a deep breath. "My name is Leela. My mother is Sophia Hale." The room froze. Veronica's face darkened. "That's impossible. Sophia Hale is dead." Alexander felt the floor tilt beneath him. "What are you saying?" The little girl's voice wavered, but she stood her ground. "She's not dead. And she told me to give you this letter." Hands trembling, Alexander took the letter from the officiant. He unfolded it, his heart pounding in his chest. His eyes scanned the familiar handwriting. "Alexander, if you are reading this, then everything has gone according to plan. They tried to silence me. They tried to bury the truth. But I survived, and I have been watching from the shadows. The time has come for you to know everything. You were never just a pawn in their game. You were meant to be the one to end it. If you trust me, meet me where it all began. Sophia." Alexander's grip tightened around the paper. His past, his rise to power, everything, it had all been a lie. Someone had tried to kill Sophia, to erase her from existence. But why? The storm breaks. Veronica stepped forward, her mask of composure slipping. This is absurd. That woman is dead, and this child is nothing but a scam. Alexander turned to her, his expression unreadable. You seem awfully sure about that, Veronica. Her lips parted, but no words came out. Before she could recover, the doors swung open again. This time, it wasn't a child standing there. It was a man. Dressed in a dark suit, his face shadowed beneath the dim lighting, he took slow, deliberate steps forward. The security guards moved, but Alexander raised a hand. The man stopped at the edge of the aisle, staring straight at him. And then, in a voice that was eerily familiar, he said, "It's time we talked, Alexander." Silence. And then, the lights went out.